Hi, everybody. Let me adjust this a little bit here since I'm in a different location. I wasn't sure where my lighting was going to be best, and I don't have my little light hooked up. Okay. Um, Today, thank you so much for those of you that tune in to these regularly. I have to be honest, it's before we get started with today's message, it's really been important to me in my relationship to spirit and in my personal growth to be able to be this person. Not that I'm the only one by any means at all, but to be feel like I have been called. It's part of my purpose here to bring forth spiritual teachings and insights that are meant to, particularly at this time in the world, I think, bring us forward with some clarity and deeper understanding that is beyond kind of the dogma and the programming and conditioning that we've all been given throughout our lives and for many generations. And spirit, you know, I don't know, a couple months ago made it very plain to me that part of my purpose here and part of what I was being asked to do, because I was in a place where I was asking, how do I fully show up as an extension of the divine source of God, whatever you want to call it. So that was really what they were shown to me, was that they wanted me to speak out in a way that is empowering and educational, and also really provides healing from so much of what, like I said, what we've been taught, what's been programmed into us, and what we've even carried forward in an unconscious and unspoken way, whether you believe that stuff is carried on in our DNA and our ancestry, which I do. So, that's how I understand it to be. And so, being able to bring forth these messages, I have a deep sense of knowing that Spirit is using me at this time. And also that those that really most need to hear whatever it is that I bring forward, whenever it is that you come across this video, is really important for you. And so, I don't I don't know what the right word is, but there's a lot of love in my heart, a lot of gratitude maybe is the right word, for being in this space where I feel chosen by spirit to bring forth whatever messages are needed on Sundays. And for those of you that have been tuning in and watching them, thank you all so much for doing that. And maybe you have noticed that there has been a couple of weeks here, a couple Sundays that I've not been able to jump on and do this. And so sometimes that's how life works. But I just want you to know that I really do feel blessed and honored to be able to present the messages and the information that Spirit wants to bring forward each week. And so I don't take it lightly, and this is not something that I am doing necessarily, for the entertainment of others or to in some way promote myself. It's really feeling like it's a calling for me to be able to do this. And so I just wanted you to know that if I lack consistency, which is very against my nature. If you know anything about human design, it is literally in my human design to be consistent. It's one of my greatest channels and gifts. Um, and so it's deeply important to me. So when I'm not consistent with something, there's good reason for it. Anyway, I just felt kind of called to speak to all that this morning. And also with that, I just want to jump in here now. So, what Spirit had brought to me a few minutes ago was they wanted me to talk about why there's so much fear I think is the right word, whether we can admit it for ourselves or not, that it's fear around being tuned into our hearts and listening to our hearts. And one of the things that is really shifting and changing in all areas of our world, of our human experience, they're saying whether it's health or your business or your relationships, the politics, the global culture, we are moving into a phase and they are asking us to be in a space where we are less of the rational mind, which is really overcome with false programming and lies. That they use the word lies, um, and that's a strong word. And so I had some hesitation about using that word, but they're very clear that it is lies that we have been told and we have been programmed with and conditioned with and are taught that they are truth. And so this is why they're saying that I've spoken to this a bit in some of the other readings and maybe some of my other these messages and also some other content that I've provided. But they're saying this is the reason why our minds cannot be trusted to actually guide us in an aligned and healthy and whole way. We are holistic beings. I say this all the time, meaning that we are also whole, WHOLE. And yet we are taught that we have holes, HOLE. And it's a lie. We have fear around listening to our hearts, but we are being called more than ever to allow ourselves to sink down into a space and a place where we allow our heart to be our guide, because this truly is how spirit communicates with us and the way that they are able to guide us. And they are saying, more importantly, it's the way that they are able to love us. And then we are able to connect to that love. For when we connect to that love, only then will we feel our own completeness. Only then will we feel our own health, abundance, fulfilling relationships, our purpose, all things that so many of us seek, whether consciously or unconsciously, only come from actually being tapped into the connection. And connection's not a strong enough word, to the source of divine love, which is all things. And so when we allow ourselves to be tapped in, embedded, I was about to say embodied, and they're like, no, embedded was the right word. When we are embedded into that divine love, where we are so filled up and so impregnated and so unified with that divine love, then we know ourselves and our experiences beyond, in total truth, beyond what is the lies that our mind has been conditioned and programmed to tell us. And so it shifts our entire reality and it shifts our entire perspective. And then that is when in comes all of your health. And that health relates to your internal health, to your mental, emotional health, to yourself, your physical health, your financial health, your career health, your relationship health, all the things. This only can be done through our hearts, not through our minds. And so they say, mindset work and affirmations and listening to subliminal messages and content while you're sleeping or whatever, which I do. I've done, I'm not gonna lie, I've done all those things. But they're saying those things allow us to help this love and the truth and the full wisdom and limitlessness, which is only in our heart space, only in our heart energy, permeate into our minds. They're saying it does help to create these holes in our mind, which act then like a sponge. It allows us to be able to take this in and start to absorb in a way that can transform our entire lives and our entire experience, our entire physical body. But it still doesn't negate or change the fact that this true transformation comes from being able to tap in and listen to our hearts, being able to trust that, allowing for an openness, which we often call vulnerability. It feels very vulnerable, they're saying to me, because we've been so programmed and conditioned to act separate from that and to shield our heart and to not trust our heart and to not allow it to be open to others or for others to see it in an open manner. And yet that's the way that the divine source communicates with us. It's I wish you could experience what they just made me feel. It's deeper than words. I'm really struggling to put words to what I mean. Yeah. It's this beyond understanding capacity of love, which is all the wisdom, all of the guidance, all of the things that we could ever want, that we think we need to heal ourselves from, or that we need to reprogram ourselves from, or learn or fix about ourselves. But it's already here. It's only our keeping this closed off, our diminishing what is in our heart space as a secondary class citizen. They're saying we don't take it seriously. We've kind of demoted it. We've even, some of us have walled it off and and just put it in a box and are really, I was going to say disconnected, and they said that we can never be disconnected from it. Again, that's just an illusion. It's like a lie that we tell ourselves. The reality is that it's always there and always accessible, no matter what you think you do to separate yourself from it. In the same way that so many of us have been taught to separate ourselves from our divineness and from our relationship, which is really the oneness of God. Um, they just want me to encourage everyone that is finding this and listening to this today to be willing to listen to your hearts, to find time in the day, in your practices, to create more openness, to create more space for listening. I wanted to say connecting to our heart space, and they're saying you can't not be connected. So they don't want me to use that word. Because they're saying it's about an opening. It's about being able to be in this place in space where when we are more open to what the heart has to tell us or offer, it's the channel, not as in all of us. When we are open to it, then that's when all of the divine source comes through. That's when all of the love that heals every part of us and every part of our lives and every aspect of our lives is able to work and start to take form in physical matter. I'm just asking them, like, how do we do this? And they're saying that's different for every person. Actually, they just said that's why they can come to you, Seer. You know, It doesn't have to be through me, though, by any means at all. There is no one way to be open or to work on opening our hearts so that we can receive that divine love, so that we can receive that divine connection and wisdom and insights and guidance. See, we think that meditation, they're saying to me, is about opening your mind or quieting your thoughts. And yet we've been misguided, because what it really is about allowing your heart energy and your heart space to open up and take over. It has nothing to do with our minds, they're saying. And so when we shift that perception and perspective, and understand that even our meditation is not meant to be a mind thing, it's meant to be a heart thing, then you will start to experience greater oneness, which is really where the root of all transformation comes from. It's interesting to me that they keep using the word oneness, because that's not really a word that I would use necessarily. And also, it makes me think of an experience in my own life where I have no idea why I'm telling you all this. Where when I was working in construction, I was responsible for overseeing an adaptive reuse project, and the developer, the real estate investor that I was working for at the time, was wanted to call it the One Project. And it was here in St. Pete, and it was before the One Building, which is now downtown, for those of you that are local and know and understand what I'm talking about. Um, I have no idea why they made me bring that up. But they're saying, because there's such an aversion to the idea of what oneness can mean, that we think of it as like a commercial term. I have a friend that doesn't like the word unity because she thinks it's overused and it's misunderstood. And they're saying the same thing is true with oneness. We use it as a political and social justice term, or sometimes also a religious term. And it's not that that's wrong. It's just that it isn't always used with sincerity, and it isn't always used with the intensity of which it truly exists. The idea that we are all one. And so when you transform yourself, when you connect to yourself more deeply, when you allow yourself to receive and be in connection with divine source and love, when you heal yourself in more ways, you really are also healing the collective all at the same time. As we do to ourselves, we do to many, right? Um, what is happening within us is always then exemplified and radiated out into the way that we are able to affect the world. And yet they say it's often perceived and often even spoken, that concept, with such idealism that it lacks the depth and the sincerity and the fundamental truth, essence, feeling, grounding that it actually is. And so they make me feel like that is the complete message for this. I try and keep these short. Um, for this Sunday, I just would love to hear your thoughts and comments in below. Please make sure you like and share. I'd love it if you don't already subscribe to this channel, so you always get notified whenever I post any of my videos or to remind you about these Sunday messages that I always do. And of course, by all means, feel free to reach out to me through my other social platforms or through my website if you have questions or if you really want to talk about something. All right, everybody. Have a great week.